I'm done. I'm out. All right, y'all have a good one. All right, y'all. All right, chat. Hey, peace. I'm gone. All right, I'm out. I'm out.
I can't believe this.
Grab your popcorn because this is dramatic. With the white pieces, we've got magnificent Carlsen, the world's #1 grandmother. It's the Champions Chess Tour semi-finals. His opponent, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, or MVL, playing with black here. And after Magnus goes with the King Pawn on move 1, we see the aggressive Sicilian played. MVL's chasing the match at this point, down a point, he needs to win. So Magnus now goes with c3, the c3 Sicilian, never figured out why it's called that, also known as the Alapin, and we now see d5, fighting for the centre immediately, because after captures, normally it's a boo-boo to bring your queen out so early, but here there's no knight to c3po by white, so it's justified. Magnus strikes in the centre, this pony develops, Magnus so impressed he copies, and you could of course go bishop g4, looks natural to pressure the centre, but this one selected instead. Again, there's many rich variations here that white can adopt, none of them gone for. Magnus goes absolute main line with bishop e2, we get e6, still MVL just doesn't want to eat this pawn, he clearly had a hearty breakfast of
mushrooms.
And after castles, he still doesn't want to gobble, he plays bishop e7. So Magnus is like, fine, we're changing the structure, plays the explosive c4, not sure what that was, and after queen d8, retreating all the way to the home square, we now see captures on c5. It offers the exchange of the ladies, but MVL doesn't go for it. He knows that what Magnus is like in an endgame, right? We just see castles and the strong female leads stay on the board. This is what we want from a modern movie, right? Now we see knight to c3, and after bishop takes on c5, a3, Magnus looks to expand and gain space, drive back. So MVL's like, no, goes to Clamptown there, and knight a4 looks to pick up that bishop bear. So that's why we see the bishop retreating here, keeping itself on the board. Bishop f4, natural as dry turkey, and after MVL gets all his bits out, I find this an interesting moment, because this looks kind of natural, right? Land that thorn in the side, hit the rook, but it's actually a bad move. The top guys, they know this stuff. You could play rook e8, but even this is stronger. You open the attack here, and after the knight retreats, something like this, although you get b4, it's not actually good, because if you capture like this, then you run into tactics, bang, out of nowhere, check, rook takes, and your queen is overloaded trying to defend pieces, right? Just a sample line. As usual, Magnus knows this, gets his pieces on the right squares, brings the knight back into the game, no longer a tactical liability, its job is done, chasing that bishop, heads for b5, looks for dark squared grip, and that's why we see bishop to b8 from MVL. Great move, challenging that strong piece. By the way, please excuse my voice, I've had a very sore throat. Turns out it's tonsillitis, so they got me some penicillin now. Should be on the mend soon, but no beer for me over Christmas. Very sad times. Now we see queen c1, defending that bishop, and after takes on f4, the queen recaptures a very strong piece, so once again the lady is challenged, but drops back to e3. Good chess by Magnus. His lady's stronger than this one, so natural to keep it on the board. And after a4, clamping on the structure, very natural by the way. If you're a French player, so often they want to set up these en croissant opportunities. You know, if this, then MVL can execute it with a perfect French accent. He'd announce it, they're over the board. But Magnus doesn't push, of course. Allow this. He plays rook a to d1. And something about that move, right, looks like the wrong rook to me. You know, I'd be putting the rook here, this rook here, but watch how it works out. Because after knight e7, excellent move, re-maneuvering those pieces, we now see bishop d3, keeping an eye on knight f5 and setting up attacking ideas. And after bishop c6, knight e5, the bishop attacked, we don't see queen c7, natural move, then maybe fighting for the d file, but no, MVL whispers, Do you even rook lift Monfrere as he brings that one to the 5th rank there? Very interesting move, exerting some pressure here. So rook fe1 played by Magnus, and would you look at that? Suddenly his position, a picture of harmony, the rook's on the perfect squares. That's why he's sat there winning championships. I'm here in my basement in a random golf hat, dying of tonsillitis, pretending I know about chess, trying to peddle a terrible Christmas calendar in all bad Targets and Walmarts. Magnus to play now after h6, and he goes bishop to c2, possibly setting up a battery, going for checkmate. So this knight rushes in, hits the queen. Still we don't see takes on f5. Magnus retreats to e2, and after queen a7 you do have to take some action because it takes control of d4. The knight's about to hop, and therefore Magnus chops, changes the structure, and with black having a big grip on e4 now, he chops here again, allows the c-pawn to recapture, but his rooks are now blasting, open to invade. So is the queen. h3 first played, keeping an eye on knight g4, also takes control of the i4 square, very often overlooked, and after queen c5, good activating move, the game now goes nuts because Magnus plays queen e7, completely ignoring the attack on the pawn here, offering it to MVL, who takes it, but he absolutely shouldn't do. How should the game proceed? Takes his best, rook recaptures, and then although the b pawn is weak for white, there are weak pawns that can be targeted for black, and this is something like how the game could proceed. It's roughly level, right? This kind of thing, but none of it played. This queen wasn't taken. Instead, MVL plays the terrible queen takes on c4.
He blundered me.
Oh my goodness.
And it's given the double question marks of doom. You can see Stock Sushi having an absolute meltdown because white is completely winning. Can you find the shot here that Magnus should have played but missed? The move is queen takes on f8 with check. Exceptional sacrifice because after queen recaptures, or king rather, you land this check. Probably best to go with the right rook. That one wouldn't do the job. And where's the king going? It can't go anywhere. So you have to block with the knight and then pick your poison. You can checkmate with either one. That's how the game would end, on the absolute spot. And of course, after the queen takes, you have to accept it. If you come here, well, you're simply a rook down for nothing. That's resignation. So that was a winning move. Magnus just didn't see it. He plays instead rook d8.
He didn't see it. Oh my! What?
I'm done. I'm out. All right, y'all have a good one. All right, y'all. All right, chat. Hey, peace. I'm gone. All right, I'm out. I'm out.
I can't believe this.
A moment of blindness from both players, and they weren't low on time, not really, and suddenly it's game on once more because knight h7 is played, defending the king, and white's now only marginally better due to the pressure and the better pawn structure. So Magnus brings this rook to the d file, threat to take and then bring down the second rook, and that's why we see queen to e6. It's a good defensive move, best defensive move. You basically have to get rid of this lady, even at the expense of a pawn structure that only a mother could love. These are very weak. So we now see rook d6 going after one of those pawns, therefore recouping the material. Magnus is one down, remember. So rook b8 goes for the counterplay. This rook covers. Now we see e5, saving that pawn and allowing Magnus to take this one. And after the knight re-enters the game, rook c4 goes for the a pawn. It forces MVL back onto the defensive, covering with the rooks. f3 played, keeping an eye on e4, rushing in the king. Micro improvement from MVL. King f2. You could now go king f7, but MVL runs this way. Rook d6, and it's an uncomfortable position for black, right? You can't go g5, your knight drops. Are you going to push one of these pawns? I mean, f4 is a top move here of the all-seeing overlord engine, but then you give up e4, looks a bit uncomfortable. You could wait with the rook, or even go rook b7, counter-attack here in case this one drops. These are the kind of waiting moves you need to find. But MVL, instead, he pushes e4. It's a mistake because after Magnus captures, he still doesn't even play the right move in response now, MVL. He is low on time. Plus, rumour has it, just at this moment, 3 wise men enter the studio practicing their pony manoeuvring, completely throws MVL at this point, so that should be noted. Sorry, just completely died off camera, edited that bit out. We're back with the game here, and now he goes rook b7, does not capture the pawn here, and Magnus finds the excellent rook b4, blocking the way here, and you can't capture, or after the pawn takes back, picking up a tempo, rook goes, you can take, and then this b pawn is just running. You know, it gets going very fast. How to stop it? You have to bring the rook around. It's absolutely terminal. So none of this is played. That's why instead we see rook e7 on the board, but now rook d to d4, and it's a picture of grip and harmony for the white pieces. MVL takes here. Magnus picks up the a pawn. He's got 2 connected runners now. We see this check flicked in, king e2, MVL keeps the rooks on the board, got to go for counterplay, and now an excellent move by Magnus, pawn to g4, just shutting down the knight on f6. It hasn't even got a forward move that doesn't lose it its head. So h5 is played, trying to break up those pawns, but Magnus now slides with the rook. Really nice chess, because after king g6, that one marching in, before MVL can make any more progress, we see Magnus pushing p, and his rook is not locked out of the game. This is the key thing. This is why he started with that one. King g5 played, given the question mark. Preferred was takes first. But a4, and we see MVL's point. He wants to march in, eat that pawn, get the counterplay going with his own pawns on the king side, but not so fast. Great response here by Magnus Carlsen, pawn g5 check. You can't munch the pawn on h3, or you drop a knight on f6. Therefore king takes, but now look, the king's blocked out. These laser beam rooks just chopping it from the game. a5 now played. b5 was also very good. Rook f5 goes for the invasion, but bang, just in time, Magnus shuts it down, covering this square, etc. We don't see captures, but if it was played, now after rook takes, rook f2 check, well of course you haven't got the pawn defended, white just eats that one. It's not working out. So instead we see the king step back. Now this king picks up a pawn here, and MVL, his last shot in the dark here was knight d5 check, you know, using the support of the rook, and after the king goes, you can kamikaze the knight, rook recaptures, and pick up this pawn here. And yes, it should be lost, but in some kind of miracle situation, you swap a pair of pawns and maybe you can hold a draw, right? Probably the best way to go, but it wasn't played. Instead, we see rook f1, and now after king d2, rook h1, Magnus can just trade the knights. This one recaptures, he covers all bases here, 0 counterplay for you, sir, and after rook a1, it's just a picture of control. The king slides to b3. Sure, you can check from b1, but the king keeps running. So these ones double, looking for a check here. Again, Magnus gives space, anticipating the enemy plans, running up with the king to the explosive c4 square, and after king g5, he doesn't blunder his rook. He's world number 1, and MVL actually just resigns the game. You know, the king's running to b5, the pawns are being escorted home, the f pawns drop in. It's absolutely terminal. And with this, Magnus won the semi-final, went on to the final to face Jan Nepomniachtchi, and in case you missed that one, the video's on screen now. Do enjoy that one. Have a great Christmas as well, whatever you're doing, and if you're celebrating it, or just a holiday season, whatever, and a good new year too. But I will be back on Boxing Day to cover the World Rapid and Blitz. Can't wait for that one. Thanks a lot, see you soon, and take care.